Hey, everyone, welcome to episode 119. It is a little bit crazy episode. I got a lot of stuff going on, but it was a really good one. What did I do? I gave a quick update about some mysterious happenings going on with the corona situation here in Japan. A few questions I have about, the validity of some of the information that's popping up around here. Then we get into, I give a Japanese study tip that will help you out. Even if you're not into studying Japanese, some video content that I find interesting culturally and language-wise, entertainment-wise as well. And then we get into our main topic, which is dating. This is going to be for guys. It gets it hits hard a little bit. So if you're a woman and you don't really want to hear me, not talk shit, but just, because I'm always talking shit, but you know what I mean. My apologies if some of the language is a little bit strong, but I just tried to keep it real, tried to share some advice that might help young guys, especially guys in their early to mid-20s, I would say, coming to Japan for the first time. If you are, a woman and you have some specific questions, please feel free to ask me questions, and I'll have no problems, including some advice for women in future episodes. But, hey, this one's for the fellas, so enjoy. Yo. Surprise, I'm here. I'm still here. Welcome to episode 117 of Japan According to Akil. Thank you guys for tuning in, as always. I guess I should say, this is actually an unexpected episode. You can notice I'm in different settings than you would normally see me in. Got my back to the wall, drinking on an oldie but goodie, drinking on a Heineken. They had them things on sale in Costco, and I was like, got to get it. I haven't drunk a Heineken in years, so I was like, it's been years since I drank a Heineken. So I was like, let me get them, cop the case, so we're here. So what we have for you today, well, what's going on is, this has been a little over a week. I try and get things out, on a weekly basis, but man, I didn't think it was going to happen this week at all. I'm recording on Thursday. I'm probably going to upload it tonight, but I really did not think it was going to happen this week at all because I was fucking tired, man. I was fucking tired. Basically what's been going on is, keep my son occupied and things like that. I've, been doing family stuff, a whole bunch of shit, and I bought him a fucking scooter, a little 3-wheel scooter, so that he can ride around and get, not just running around, but he's his little baby bicycle, push pedal bike, not pedal bike, little kick bike, whatever, strider kind of thing. He's kind of outgrowing that, and he's not really riding as well as I thought he would. So I was like, all right, maybe I'll get him a pedal bike or a scooter. I saw the way last time I took him to the park one time, I saw the way he was looking at them scooters. He was like, oh man, look at that shit. So I got him a scooter, little 3-wheel one, 2 wheels in the front, one in the back. So it's more stable. So he could pick it up pretty easily. He's still 3 years old. So, he picked it up and he fucking loves the thing. So what I didn't anticipate though, is that my ass would have to be running next to him the whole goddamn time, all over the fucking place, every morning, and his skills, it's been less than a week since he had it, but his skills have gotten exponentially better. So between day 1 and day 3, he basically learned how to ride the thing, and now he can kind of brake on it. So he can do almost everything he needs to do. But I gotta fucking run, next to him. I got these old man knees, and my knees are I'm stretching and shit in the morning. My knees is fucking with me, and, I'm fucking exhausted. So I literally, the past couple of days, I've just been sore, exhausted, just fuck. This time next month, I realize I'm gonna have to buy a fucking scooter myself, because in a month, he's gonna be whipping around all over the goddamn place, and I'm not running to keep up with his ass. I'm running for fucking 30 minutes, and and my knees don't hit how they used to, so I'm seriously gonna have to like buy a fucking scooter. Like I'm buying a fucking scooter like next month or something. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much what it was. I was just like really fatigued, and I was just like I had a few other things I was doing, and every night, I think I told you guys before, like I'm not really gonna like force myself to record. So the past few nights, it was just like, I felt me forcing myself to record. Like I'm not gonna do it, But today, a few of my lessons finished early. I finished work early. And I was in a good mood, and I'm feeling good because I've been rested for a few days. And I was like looking at the time, and my son was actually out of the house, so I was like, let me actually just put together some shit and record. But of course, my dog is going crazy. But those kind of plans got a bit all jumbled up. But basically, I'm just recording like up in this room as my dog is fucking going crazy. It's just a crazy day, but good crazy. And I'm drinking a fucking beer to celebrate. So, it's the end of the month. Yeah, it's the end of April, which actually brings me to our first topic, because even though Japan has, what is this dog? What the? Hold on. Okay. Hold on, let me stop this and go see what's bothering my dog. Yeah, so my dog was tripping, so I had to bring his ass upstairs. He's like right next to me. He's like, "Why the fuck am I up here?" I'm like, "Cause you were barking all over the goddamn place." Okay, but anyway, so it's the end of the month, which brings me to actually our first article. Now, don't worry, Rod. I'm going to get to. I'm in the mood for talking about shit, but I gotta get a little bit of Corona information out of the way first, and then go get to the good shit. Actually, it was just funny because earlier I was planning on recording in the place I normally record in the living room, but when my wife was working, and so I was like a little bit nervous about recording in front of her, because I was like, am I gonna have to censor what the fuck I say? But I'm up here now, so I can say what the fuck I want. I can do what the fuck I want. But anyway, all right. Before that, let's get a few things out of the way. Again, this time I still don't have any product reviews. I just don't really have time for that. I just wanted to. I have time for it, but I just literally. Okay, here comes my dog. What's up, dog? Yes, dog. Sniffing the mic. You want to say something? You want to say hi to the people? Say what's up. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Okay. Yes, dog. All right. So my dog is just next to me. He just wants to chill. All right. And he's fucking up the podcast too. Okay. So anyway, what I have for you guys is an article that I stumbled across today. Because the situation in Japan is really starting to, of course, Corona situation in Japan is really starting to make me wonder what the fuck is actually going on behind the scenes. It's a BBC article, really well done article. Coronavirus, Japan's low testing rate raises questions, and it has been raising questions with me as well. And the article just kind of summarizes. It gives some anecdotal evidence, one anecdotal story, about, and I've heard a few other anecdotal stories about. It might be a bit upsetting, and it might be a bit eyebrow raising about why Japan isn't doing widespread testing for the coronavirus, why the testing rates and also the infection rates are so low, and I just don't have an answer for it yet. But I don't believe that the level of the number of infections, reported infections, are accurate at all, at this point in time. And so I don't really know what's going to come of that. I'm kind of tend more to look now. I'm starting to shy away from the infection rate and look more at the number of deaths, which they don't really broadcast as much. You don't see any charts about like how many people died of corona on Japanese news, which is I find kind of interesting. And I was thinking about it today. And I was talking with my mother-in-law about it, and last night just randomly, and it made me think like, huh, it could. I'm not gonna get all conspiratorial about the Japanese government or anything like that, but it could possibly be. I think the Olympics are still in play here, so like I've seen the first few one or two questions like, well, if the shit's not happening in 2021, the Olympics are going to be canceled, and me personally, I don't think the Olympics are gonna fucking happen. Personally, I don't think they're gonna happen at all. Just because like a year is a really short time away, and like with the situations, there are just too many unknowns, and for the rest of the world to be to the point where people are comfortable, like let's say we're going into May, and like 6-7 months, you're gonna have to start planning your trip, right? 6 or 7 months, I don't really feel like people will be, even if the situation in their home country is reasonably under control, I can't imagine people will be to the point where they're like, we're going to Tokyo, or people will be more hesitant to travel internationally and things like that at best. So I just don't really see it happening. But the government might have to put a good face on it. If they just do widespread testing and then like, a huge big ass number comes up, it's like, whoa, shit. So I think trying to manage the numbers and the situation might be something that's going on here, but I don't know. I'm not trying to. Definitely trying to give the government the benefit of the doubt, but the numbers that I'm seeing, it does raise kind of questions for me. The testing numbers, the numbers of infections, it's just like, really, kind of thing that makes me think. So I don't know, but I'm still in the house. I do expect, as of this point, the state of emergency in Japan expires on the 6th, which is like a week away. The prime minister is saying he's gonna think about it. He's gonna meet with his experts, and of course he's gonna extend it. Like, there's no fucking way they're gonna open it back up Tokyo next week. That's just not gonna happen. But again, get some insight from Japanese people. Like, you would think, I was watching TV with my wife, and the prime minister was like, I'm not gonna wait until the last minute to extend the state of emergency. She was like, the fuck, it's already last minute. What the fuck are you talking about? But if you think about it here, like, the prime minister wants to, meet with the experts, get their opinion, show that, again, the process is important in traditional Japan, right? This situation is not really flying too well, but, show, hey, I've consulted the experts, they've said it, they advised me to do this, instead of making swift and immediate action, because, if something goes wrong or whatever, it's not his fault. It's kind of the consensus I'm getting from a few Japanese people. So, yeah, it's just an interesting situation. In other countries, swift and deliberate action is kind of more how things go down, but not so much in Japan. Again, it's a very traditional Japanese government, very traditional Japanese way of doing things, and that's the way it is, right? Okay, that's enough Corona talk. I want to give some Japanese tips for you guys. I have a link, if you check the description, wherever you're watching or peeping this out. It's getting kind of dark. Shit, I should turn the light, but we still have enough. Oh, fuck it, let me turn on. Sorry, dog. Hold on. Watch out, let me turn the light, dog. Hold on. Oh, shit, I'm gonna spill my beer. That didn't work out this morning. Hold on, let me try this again. Okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. I almost fucked myself up. Alright, yeah. It just gives some Japanese study advice, which I was giving to a friend a few, I think 2 days ago, about a TV show which I watched quite a bit when I was studying Japanese. I still watch it every now and then. It's still just fucking entertaining. I don't need it for study purposes, but it's a kids show, if you're not familiar with it, called Chibi Maruko-chan. And the first season, I watched it on regular Japanese TV without subtitles, but it's on YouTube with English subtitles. It gives, it's good for Japanese study, culture study as well. It's funny too. It's about a little elementary school girl. You know, she has a wild imagination. I love her grandfather. He's a crazy motherfucker. But you know, you can really pick up some cultural and things about everyday life here in Japan. Of course, it's a little bit dramatic, you know, but I think it's more like you can get a feeling for the everyday life here in Japan, everyday family life here in Japan. So the first season of it is on YouTube with English subtitles. I'm sure there's other episodes on there as well. Again, I recommend it. Check it out. Even if you're studying Japanese or whatever, but you know, if you're just going to be interested in Japan, this is, I think, a show that will definitely give you a feeling of what Japan is really like. Not like the shit you see on YouTube or like the crazy Harajuku style stuff. This is more like the everyday pace of real life here, you know. And there's another show called Sazae-san, which I don't like as much, which is more of like a conservative show. But Chibi Maruko-chan is more, I think, like a modernized show. Even though the family is very traditional, very conservative, and they live in a residential area, but you know, the mindset of the family and the mindset of the people, I think, isn't as conservative as Sazae-san. So I prefer that. It's more entertaining for me to watch than Sazae-san. So definitely check that out. What is my dog? Okay, he's just hanging out. Okay, all right. So check that out. Now, Rod is going down. We're going to see what's up. We're 15 minutes in. Okay. All right. Now we get into the good shit. Good shit. All right. So Rod, you sent me, and you know, I'm gonna talk to you, and you know, I know I'm just gonna phrase this as any young people who are in Japan, you know, for living in Japan, let's say people in their 20s or things, single people, this is mainly going to be for guys, but there is, Rod sent me a post about Gaijin Hunters, and how do you avoid Gaijin Hunters in Japan, right? Now, actually reading this article, and I asked one of my students, who's, you know, like about a 40-year-old Japanese woman. She gets hit on by foreign guys a lot, actually, too. And we've had several conversations about dating and stuff like that in Japan, international relationships and stuff. We're, you know, more than students, she's like my friend. But how do I explain this? How do I start this? Like, actually, let me preface this by saying it like this. Like, I realized by reading this article and talking to her and thinking back on my own experiences, I think, like, actually a lot, or not a lot, like many, let me say that, many foreign guys coming into Japan are also Gaijin Hunters. And by Gaijin Hunters, meaning people who openly hunt foreign people because they're foreign. And I think I was to a certain extent when I came to Japan as well. But what I mean by that is, like, when I came to Japan, you know, I met my wife, I fell in love with my wife, but I don't think immediately I saw my wife as an individual person. I saw her as a Japanese, my Japanese boo, or my Japanese, you know, not like my geisha girl, or, you know, I had like yellow fever or anything like that, but I saw her, you know, I cared about her, but I did see her as a Japanese person first, you know, and so my preconceived notions of what a Japanese woman would be or is like kind of dominated, I think, the first maybe 6 months, maybe even a year of our relationship, maybe, you know, until things got deeper, and then I kind of moved past that. So the concept, you know, and I remember, like, when I first came to Japan, I think Japanese women, you know, even some of the times when I was single or just hanging out and things like that, encountering these type of women, had like a really, really negative image of them. But like now, when I kind of think about it, I don't know what's what, because, you know, a lot of guys foreign guys who are in Japan who encounter these type of, like, let's just call them Gaijin Hunters, have a real negative image about them. But if you think about it, there's also a percentage of guys who do the same thing to Japanese women. They're Japanese hunters, you know. So I don't think either one is right, but you know I let me see this. Gaijin Hunter type girls are annoying to me. I'll say that. They are very annoying. And I say that's more of a thing. They're more annoying than anything. So, and knowing some of the issues that can come out of relationships with them from, you know, say, hearing from other people, I kind of feel sorry for them, if you will. Hmm, hmm. But anyway, so defining a Gaijin hunter, I would say, is a person, or is particularly a woman, generally going to be a woman, who pretty much pursues Western, particularly Western people, simply because they're Western, because they're not Japanese, you know. And by Western, I would mostly put it as white guys. Like, there aren't as many. You've kind of heard me talk about different people having different niches and quote unquote groupies here in Japan. And I would say being a black guy, I gotta phrase this correctly. There aren't as many Gaijin Hunter girls who openly go after black guys as there are who go after white guys. I think. Like, I think the girls who are attracted to black guys in Japan, not like, you know, oh, we're so much cooler or whatever, but, you know, are generally like, you know, music, style, fashion, you know, just generally, you know, black culture, I would say, or just, you know, find the appeal to that more so than I want to have like a baby that has green eyes and, you know, is really tall. And you know, and I've heard like that type of thing, like Gaijin Hunter girls who are actually going after these white guys who go after white guys are generally more tend. I would say the way I phrase it, I think about it is they're doing it for their sperm. Basically, eventually they kind of want to have the fantasy of either living life in another country, escaping Japan because they're unhappy, unsatisfied with their life here in Japan, or the fantasy of having like a mixed race biracial half child, and you know how cool or how attractive that would be. The person in and of themselves is, you know, or you know how, like, as kind of like a handbag kind of thing, like look at my foreign boyfriend kind of thing, is also another way. But in actuality, this is really like a short-sighted fantasy, in my opinion. Very short-sighted, very short-term, and there I've seen and heard of a lot of really fucked up problems that come with this. Like, um, mm, for dudes who are unlucky enough to date some of these women and marry them, like some of the child abduction, for example, situations in Japan. You know, if you're basically, I won't get too deep into it. Basically, if you're married to a Japanese person and you have a Japanese baby, that baby is considered Japanese. And if you move to your country, for example, at any time that woman can just grab the child, come back to Japan, and the I forgot the name of the law, but the child abduction laws, international child abduction laws, don't apply to Japanese nationals. So pretty much, like, as a foreign person, you don't have any enforceable rights to visitation to your child at all. If your wife, ex-wife, whatever, wants to completely cut you off from that child, she can do it at any point in time she wants to, and there's nothing you can do about it at this point in time. You know, so I've heard several cases. I won't get into some of the cases I've heard or seen. Some good, some. How did I say this? How do I say this? I'll just leave it there because yeah, that's kind of like a slippery slope. But anyway, let's get into the article. Let me zoom in on this shit. So, this article, this post by this dude, Tom Larson, really thoughtful. Our post. I would say I have to agree with a lot of the things this guy said. Some of the tips he gave. One is to avoid places like the Hub in Japan. The Hub is like a British style pub, where definitely lots of foreign people go, or Japanese people who are interested in foreign people go. It can, depending on where you go, it can be a very popular pickup spot. The one in Shibuya, I would not go there. I would, like me personally, I would not go there at all. At this point in my life, Abyss would probably be into the Tokyo area. Would probably be a better one to go to if you're in your at least late 20s. Some in Yokohama, things like that. But then again, you just wouldn't. I don't really go there that much. If you want to just hang out with some foreign people, you chose to be up here, dog. You're up here for the long haul. Okay, sorry. Some people, if you're going to go out and hang out with your friends, it's a great place to go. But for meeting someone, I would avoid it. Again, that's just kind of a thing. Like it just, the type of women you're gonna meet there is not gonna be conducive to someone who likes you for you, is what I would say. And a lot of things about these types of women, especially, again, I'm sorry I'm singling out women because I find this is much more common in women, is that they can spot someone who's new to Japan. So a lot of times, like I've seen it's happened to me, where I'm new in Japan eyes, like girls and women, they can spot those kind of guys and they'll swarm you. You'll think, oh, I'm the fucking man, I'm doing it big, but actually it's just a girl who knows like you're fucking fresh meat, and sometimes okay, god damn it, okay, my dog is fucking up this podcast. All right, fine. Let me stop it again and take this dog downstairs. Hold on, I'll be right back. My co-host doggy is completely ruining this fucking podcast, this fucking episode. Jesus. Okay. I'm sorry about this, you guys, but you got to work with me this time. Like I was saying, like, a lot of times they can spot you a mile away. So like, if you might think, if you're in a situation, especially if you're new to Japan, and you go out, like you go to a bar, you go to, maybe even an izakaya, and you see someone who's like really, really into you suddenly, and they're just like, whoa, you're so cool, oh my gosh, whatever. And generally speaking to you in English, you're probably talking to a Gaijin Hunter. She doesn't really like you for you. She just wants, and I tend not to be so condescending about like, oh, she's trying to use me for my English. Fuck that shit. Like, I personally, I think it might be also the ego of an English teacher. I gotta be completely honest with you that, when I came to Japan, I did it as well. Me coming to Japan as an English teacher, I placed kind of a value on my English ability. I put a price tag on it, a mental price tag on it. And I think meeting someone who might be trying to meet you or get close to you for that ability kind of feels like someone's trying to steal from you a little bit. And fuck that, she's trying to get free English from me, kind of thing, is something that you might feel a bit defensive about. I did it first. I'm not saying get over it. I'm not saying like just ignore it, because I don't like it. And now that I have a Japanese ability, it's just something like I don't have to deal with, basically. Because if you don't speak Japanese, then you are at a distinct disadvantage with these type of people, because the only language you can deal with them is in English, right? Which is another tip from this guy, speaking Japanese, learn Japanese, like, and you're gonna have to go through these bumps, like where like you get before you, even if you think your Japanese is good, it probably isn't good enough, right? And so, dealing with people who, not only Gaijin Hunter type girls, but dealing with people who want to learn English and you wanting to learn and practice Japanese, it can be a bit brutal, especially in the beginning and the middle parts of it, because it can feel like, come on guys, I'm in here in your country, I'm trying to learn your language and you're not fucking helping me. I'm a bit more accommodative to it now, maybe even more so now because, I can speak Japanese a bit, and I think about it like, imagine like I can speak Japanese and living in America. I meet a Japanese person. It's like, ooh, I have the opportunity to speak Japanese. Great. I'm really gung ho about it. Not everyone's going to do it for all the right reasons, but I kind of tend to think of myself as a representative of foreign people, so I have to take everything that comes with it, which means, if someone's really trying to speak English, all right, knock yourself out. Whichever way you want to do it, we can speak in Japanese, we can speak in English. I don't really have, either way is fine with me. So, getting yourself to that point takes quite a bit of work, especially if you're new in Japan. So that's just going to be something you're going to have to deal with until, you're at the point where you can communicate on that level, which means Japanese classes. My advice, especially if you're living in Japan, one-on-one Japanese classes with a Japanese teacher in all Japanese after you've gone through textbooks like Genki 1 and Genki 2 on your own, where you can, read hiragana and katakana on your own. You've got a basic amount of vocabulary and grammar, very bare minimums, so that you can actually go into a class, make some basic sentences, understand some basic vocabulary, and kind of go in with the ball rolling instead of like having a teacher who's just like teaching you the alphabet basically. It can be a bit of a grinding kind of thing. So, especially if you want to get some ass. If you want to get some ass, get some Japanese skill, and then you won't have to deal with these type of chicks, because also more than likely they've probably been ran through by quite a few people. So just letting you know, you're not the first new guy in Japan who gave her some dick. I'm just telling you. Okay. Jeez. Okay. All right. Always ask her about her ex-boyfriends or try to find out about them. This one, I don't really 100% agree with. You kind of have to judge the person based on their merit, I don't, my wife, she's dated some foreign people in the past, and, I don't consider her a Gaijin Hunter, for example. Before me, some of her friends did as well. I don't consider them Gaijin Hunters. I think it's more of like, instead of dating people in the past, I think it's more about how you see foreign people. It's not like a 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, A plus B equals C kind of thing. I think it is more of like, does that person see you, as an individual, or do they see you as this foreign thing? It's very easy to tell. It's very, very easy to tell, just the way that people treat you, the way people talk to you. If someone kind of, basically, for me, I think about it, if a woman makes assumptions about me, if she's like, oh, I know this, I know that, she's probably a Gaijin Hunter. Because she has a preconceived notion about who you are, what you are, because through repetition, she's kind of gone through the patterns of several different guys. So she's kind of like, oh yeah, you fit in this box of what I expect you to be, and so which means you can give me what I want. And so I wouldn't necessarily put past boyfriends, but if she's checking several of the boxes, for me, a better question would be asking her how she learned English is a better example, right? So, but not just like, how did you learn English? So like for me, how I do it is like, oh, wow, your English is really good. Did you study abroad? If she's like, no, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, so, did you go to international school? Oh, no. And I'm like, okay. Because generally, if you didn't study abroad, you didn't go to international school, didn't go to language school, and you just kind of studied on your own, but you're like, know a bunch of, you gotta listen to the way she talks. Like if she knows a bunch of slang, or, uses like really casual, colloquial kind of things that you would only pick up from talking to native speakers, probably means she picked it up from dating foreign people, which means she's a Gaijin Hunter, which means she's been fucked by a lot of foreign guys. Sorry, that's just the way it is, right? So yeah, and so much ex-boyfriends, those are the questions I would ask to kind of gauge, someone's past or whatever. So, Yeah. Don't worry, my wife passed that test. All right. Mutual Japanese friends. Avoid. This was a little bit confusing. Avoid them who. I'm gonna skip that one. Pay attention to their social media. I kind of can't really speak on this one because I came to Japan before the age of social media, so I listened to some of my younger coworkers talk about meeting Japanese girls on Tinder and on whatever the fuck app they're using, and I couldn't understand that shit. I was just like, fuck, I'm happy I'm married. Like, that's some fucking millennial ass shit for me. I'm sorry, I'm out of it. So I can't help you with there. The universities they attend, I can't really speak on it. I tried to ask my wife about it, and she was like, fuck, I don't know. I'm not really interested in that shit. So, I don't know. The last is no brainer if she goes about Western looking if she goes on about Westerners looking cool, and more importantly if she says she's half mixed or says half kids are so cute and she wants them, avoid her like the plague. Yeah, I would say a girl saying that she wants to have half Japanese kids is kind of, especially early on in the relationship, is a big red flag to me. Like, if you're in a serious relationship and you start talking about your kids and stuff like that, then that's fine. And for me, like, a lot of these, like, Gaijin Hunter kind of girls, like, they're really transparent. Like, they don't really have any game. So you can, like, if you go on a few dates, you can actually, like I told you about the girl with the fucking card, fucking necklace. Ugh. Like, you can really, you can see them coming a mile away. If you have a significant amount of game, a decent amount of game yourself, you've had relationships with women in the past, then you should be able to see some of this shit coming. My advice would be, like, ask them about kids. Like, just set them up. Like, oh, look at that kid. Oh, that kid looks cute. Don't they look half Japanese? What do you think about half Japanese kids? And just let them go. And just shut the fuck up. And if you see their eyes change and the whole fucking, you'll see it. You can know, like, this fantasy Disneyland kind of image kind of pops up in their head. So, yeah. So again, if my advice, if you're with a girl and you think she might, you're new to Japan, you think she might be checking some of these boxes, man, break up with her ass. Like, I'm sorry, I would say break up with her. Even I don't care how much you think she's cool, how much you think she likes you, break up with her immediately, because you're just saving yourself pain down the road. Generally, especially, also another thing, these type of girls, like, another thing to think about when dating Japanese women, generally speaking, Japanese women look younger and cuter than they are. So just like I said, like, younger girls, you have to subtract 5 to 7 years from their age. When they get, like, about, let's say, 30, in Western terms, you have to add 5 to 7 years to their age. So I'll say, even, fuck that, I'll say 5 to 10 years. Let me go that. I'll say 5 to 10 years to their age. Generally, you're gonna have to, a woman over who's 30, especially if you're new to Japan and you meet someone who's really cute, really attractive. Add, if she looks like, if you don't know her age and she looks like she's in her late 20s or whatever. Oh, if she looks like she's 30, and you don't know much about Japan, add 10 years to her age, and that's probably how old she is, right? Like, Japanese women tend to really keep them, especially single women, tend to keep themselves together in their 30s really, really well. So I've seen, that's, like, for me, the number one, oh shit, she got your ass. If I see, like, a younger dude with an older woman, and I've seen, don't worry, I'm thinking of one particular coworker. It's not always the case. Like, his girlfriend, hopefully fiance at this point, they moved away from Japan. They fell in love, and he met her, he fell in love with her, and they seemed really, really happy together. So I'm not, like, making a blanket statement, but I also have seen a lot more cases where a young dude is swooped up by older Gaijin Hunter chick who's, like, in her 30s, early mid 30s, who she can feel the music starting to play, the end of the dance is coming, and she's looking to swoop up someone really quickly, marry him, and some of those situations, I know the dude is fucking miserable because, like the claws come out later on after they're married. So I've heard some stories, I've seen some shit from people where they, especially once, because I've told these guys, like, that type of situation, like, if you are a younger guy dating an older girl, especially if she's like in her late 20s, early 30s, she might seem cool dating and everything now, but she's gonna want to get married very soon, and she's gonna want to have a kid very soon. And even in those type of relationships, foresight, the goal is the kid, the goal is the marriage. So even if she says like everything is cool, and you're in the concept of a marriage in the West is very different than it is in Japan. So like you might think like yeah, we'll get married, we'll work it out, whatever. In Japan, that shit don't work like that. So after marrying her, after having a kid, you are at such a distinct disadvantage, especially if you're not familiar with Japan, you're not familiar with the language, you're not set in your career. Let's say you're an English teacher, you're doing an ALT or something like that. It's gonna be rough for you, bruh. It's gonna be real rough for you. I'm just telling you. So, no matter how much you might find someone and you think that you might even be in love with that person. Man, especially as a young dude coming to Japan, there's more fish in the sea. Like, especially if you're a decent looking person who's not a fucking weirdo, with, a reasonable amount of game with, like, women, you'll be fine. And especially, I was telling one of my friends who's been here for a while, who's just, for his career, really starting to get into Japanese study and things like that. I was telling him, dude, hit the Japanese hard, because that opens up an infinitely larger pool of women, and an infinitely larger, better quality pool of women. I mean, I got really lucky because I met my wife, and she's really great, and we have so much in common. It was destiny for us to meet each other, and fall in love together. But I tell people that it's like a fucking movie, but it is. But the vast majority of people is not like that. And there are, especially here, plenty more fish in the sea, especially if you're in your 20s and early mid 20s, you plan to be here for a little while, and you are decent looking. Spend like a year. It might sound like a long time, but if you want to get some ass, I'm just telling you what to do. If you want to get some good quality ass, I'm just telling you what to do. Alright? Like, there's a formula to this. Spend about a year hitting your Japanese really hard every day, studying an hour a day, going to Japanese class, one-on-one, all Japanese class, no bullshit, doing Japanese language exchanges, 50-50 language exchange. I speak 30 minutes Japanese, you speak 30 minutes English. After you have a decent level of Japanese communication, like even language exchanges, I only did one or two and they weren't for me, but it's hit or miss with that. Mainly Japanese class, you're gonna have to come out of pocket, you're gonna have to pay for it. Maybe try and take the Japanese language test. Like, you do that for a year, and then when you hit the dating pool, you'll be in such stronger, more stronger ground, and you can get much better quality poontang. Sorry, if women listen to some. Okay, I was about to get really, really raunchy. I'm sorry, but you can date. My apologies if I offended any women listening. My apologies for that. But you can meet and deal with much higher quality women, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, I was gonna get too locker room talking this, but I'm gonna just cut myself off right there. I'm trying to be a little bit more professional, a little bit more conservative, not just talk all types of crazy on here. So, but no, it's really true. Like, for guys, that's my advice. The advice I give guys, young guys coming here, the advice, like, I've seen it happen, I've seen it go down, I see it continue to happen, and people who don't take that type of advice, the circles that they run around in, and just save yourself that fucking bullshit and heartache, because there are so many really, really nice, really, really well-mannered, really, really intelligent women who can show you Japan, who could put you on, who could put you on to stuff here and really, like, guide you through, like, a lot of the experiences and things in Japan. You might end up falling in love and doing, changing your whole life and shit like that. So just think about that and do that type of shit. All right, my dog is fucking it up for everybody. So let me get out of here. All right, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Again, this is gonna count as this week's episode, even though it's later on in the week. So this weekend, early next week, I'm gonna record another one. Rod, if you have anything else, I'm gonna go back through your last few emails and look at a few more articles. But I definitely want to get that information out to whoever is relevant to. Wink, wink. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, hopefully it's helpful. Let me know if you or anyone else questions for Akil at gmail.com, at Japan According to Akil on IG, YouTube me, leave me a comment, please. Yeah, that's another thing. Don't forget to watch this shit on YouTube as well. I think it's I watch some of these videos sometimes. It is a different experience if you listen on the podcast versus watching on YouTube. If you got the time, send your boy a couple likes on YouTube as well, and a comment or two on YouTube as well. It'll help me out, please, in these streets. So, all right, y'all. Until next time, I'm gonna holler at you later. Peace.